Welcome to week 2, Move for Mentoring. Here we are with big brothers and big sisters in support of the littles and support of your health. My name is Adam Kreek, Executive Business Coach, here to work with you through this challenge. So we've got a couple of logistical things to talk through because we're almost halfway through the challenge. Keep moving. This is maybe the lowest and hardest point of the challenge, so if you can get through this point, you can get through it all. The resources have been updated and support is available on the website. So check out on the website for resources and support. And again, this is about you and your motivation and your service, and it's about the littles. So who can you send a text message to? Who can you call? Who can you ask for some fundraising support? And let's have some fun with this, and let's see who we can get on board and bring into the Big Brothers and Big Sisters fold. We're talking about flow, and I've got 3 questions on flow. First, I'm going to describe flow, and then try to answer those 3 questions. The first question is, 1, how do you keep motivated when trying to achieve a goal? 2, what do you do if you run into roadblocks along the way? And 3, who is on your team and how do you rely on your team to get going? So the purpose of flow is to keep the energy going and to find a sustainable pace. Flow, from what I understand, was developed by a scientist, and I'm probably butchering his name, so please forgive me, but Csikszentmihalyi studied flow, and what he found was that when we are in a flow state, we're in the optimal balance of capability and challenge. So we're doing something that is on the edge of our capability, but is not so challenging that it's frustrating, not so challenging that it's painful all the time. If you're always in the state of pain, and yes, we have to live through pain, uncertainty, hard work, that's part of life, that's part of challenge, and we need to make peace with that. But at the same point in time, if all you're doing is living in the pits, you're doing something wrong. We need to find pieces of flow. And so let's talk about flow. And because a lot of this is exercise-based, there's 2 ways you can find flow in a physical standpoint. 1 is fear-based, and I laugh because I laugh in the face of fear. And 2 is cardio flow. And so fear flow is more like skiing, downhill skiing, where you get there, you're terrified, and you know that you need to be sharp. I love mountain climbing, so when I'm on the edge, high exposure, clipped in, looking down, realize if I fall, it could all be over. Bam, you're there, you're present, nothing else matters, you are in flow. The second one is cardio flow. That's like cross-country skiing. That's like a long, slow jog. That's zone 2 fitness that so many people talk about. It's very important for your health. You get into the cardio flow, and after 10, 15 minutes, all of a sudden, that monkey mind calms down, and you get into this Zen state, and you are present. Your brain starts to heal. You're finding that rhythm, and you're finding the breath. You're connecting to your body. You're connecting to the universe, and you're finding that the extended work feels easy. So this is a flow state that we want to find more in our life, and I think of my little brother. I want him to find more flow in his life too. If you're watching, little Adam, find more flow. Okay, let's answer these questions. How do you keep motivated when trying to achieve a goal? Well, let's talk about the flow cycle and how that drives motivation. If you understand the cycle of flow, because flow just doesn't happen. The cycle goes struggle, release, flow, recovery. I'm going to say it one more time. Struggle, release, flow, recovery. So first you go and picture a run, because it's a great metaphor and many of us are doing this. You go for the run and you start going and you start struggling. You feel the glycogen starts burning up, your oxygen starts getting utilized, the aerobic system's kicking in, it feels hard. And then there's this funny sort of endorphin release where it kicks in, 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 12 minutes. That's usually, if you're on a longer run, when that time will start to click in. And you get into flow and you have the workout and you find the right pace. And afterwards, what do you have to do? You got to recover. You got to recover. And then when it's time for the next, workout, you're going to do it all again. Struggle, release, flow, recovery. And even you'll go through that on a smaller scale, just putting on your shoes, getting set up, like not even getting into the run, getting started for the run, and recognize that the struggle is necessary for the release. If you do not have the struggle, you will not have the release. And if you do not have the struggle and release, you will not have the flow. So make peace with the struggle and welcome it. Say, thank you. Thank you. So how do you keep motivated? Expect the struggle. Life is pain. Not always. Okay. 2, what do you do if you run into roadblocks along the way? Well, we are going to run into roadblocks. Sometimes they're big, sometimes they're small. Let's talk about vision. Let's talk about purpose. Let's talk about values. I'll start with values. Values are the how, and values are the foundation of a great form of therapy. If you've ever done it, acceptance commitment therapy. If you understand your values and how you do things, regardless of what you're doing, if you're living your values through a challenging time, through a challenging situation, through a time of crisis, if you live your values, you're focusing on what you can control, and you can accept what is happening and commit more fully to the present because you're living your values in the process. And again, with vision, which comes motivated by intention, we've talked about intention before, purpose, which comes from our heart, which is our why, which is our impact. So if our vision, we know what we're trying to achieve, and we're very clear on what we want that outcome to be, and how we're changing ourselves in the world with our actions, and why this matters, to me, why this matters to the people closest to me, and then the bigger why does this matter to the littles? Because again, when we talk about purpose, that is the big purpose. We're doing this for the littles. We're helping out that next generation. Finally, who is your team? How do you rely on your team to get going? I'm going to go on the way back time machine. I went to the Olympics, and we're going through this process of writing a book, and so I've had to go back deep into the into the narrative. And I was surprised we did not win an Olympic gold medal just by relying on the 8. I was a rower. Yes, I was a rower. We rowed on Elk Lake here in Victoria, BC. We rowed and there were 8 rowers and a coxswain in the boat, and we had a coach. But that just wasn't the team. It wasn't just the 10 of us. We had other athletes who were challenging to get in the boat, and they were actually part of the team. They were part of the success. And it wasn't just that. We had a whole administration. We had sports administrators. We had physiologists. We had doctors who all supported the team. And it wasn't just about that. It was about the Victoria City Rowing Club. So we had juniors and masters and other rowers who were there at the club helping out, just adding to the energy, adding to the environment. And it wasn't just about that. We had partners who supported groceries, partners who just gave little bits of funding. We had community partners who supported medical expenses. We had the Pacific Sport Institute who was supporting us. And I'm probably missing out. Camosun College was a support. There were so many different institutions, organizations, and people who were on our team as we were on this crazy journey to try and win an Olympic gold medal. And I'm forgetting the most important one, which is our family, the ones that are closest to us. However you define family for yourself, but the ones in our personal lives are really there as emotional supporters, as cheerleaders, and we could never do that without them. So, think about your team closely, think about it broadly, and think about it at the 10,000-foot view. And by harnessing the power of team, you'll be able to keep going.